Good evening. Welcome to the Per Report. I'm Diana Lin. Tonight, we're going to Vancouver, a city in Canada of 2.5 million people, 400,000 of them ethnic Chinese. As producer Chris Lincoln reports, the Chinese have changed Vancouver, especially the waves of migration from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and now mainland China.
Vancouver is this place where you send your kids to be educated, and you also park your money in the real estate.
We have lovely kids here.
Are dragons connected to Chinese culture? Because I think so.
The next station is Aberdeen.
Vancouver sees its future in Asia far more than most other places.
When I traveling in Vancouver, I felt it's not in Canada, it looks like in China.
Become Canadians and contribute to Canada. For example, take unemployment, buy a house, pay taxes. That's the objective.
Were you leading or following?
Following. Just for me, yeah.
Zheng Lihong came to Vancouver in 1998, leaving behind a job as a government accountant in Hunan province.
I can see what's my future easily, right? Maybe that's just a director of one department, then you retire. That's my life. So I want to have a different life, maybe more challenge, and for new environment.
Lihong came to Canada as an economic migrant under the Skilled Workers Program. Canada regularly adjusts its intake. This year it's inviting applications from 50 skilled categories. Robin Zhang at that point was a boyfriend, working in Shenzhen as a banker.
I always do business loan with a big company.
And he had a big choice to make.
Stay in Shenzhen and move to Canada. Yeah, which one is most important for me?
Lihong in Canada won. They got married, and he's been here since 2003. A Chinese waiting tables in Vancouver was a common sight for years. Chinese were singled out for official discrimination starting in British Columbia in 1885. Unions had complained Chinese provided cheap labor after they'd finished building Canada's national railroad. So by law, Chinese immigrants had to pay an escalating head tax until 1923, when they were all but barred. From then until the Chinese Exclusion Act was repealed in 1947, much of the Chinese population was single men working menial jobs.
Because Chinese weren't allowed to vote, they weren't technically allowed to be professionals, lawyers, doctors, things like that. And they were your cooks, they were your gardeners, they were your waiters.
In 1967,
immigration laws that were built around white supremacy, that had racial preferences for European migrants, were finally removed and reformed, and we had a new immigration system.
it admitted people based on skills. In 1971, a family reunification program was launched. It wasn't until this year that the British Columbia government officially apologized for decades of racism against Chinese.
We are sorry for the discriminatory legislation and racist policies enacted by past provincial governments.
Robin owns this West Vancouver cafe, about a 45-minute drive from the family home in Surrey. He bought it more than a year ago from a friend who'd become ill.
We have a great relationship with her, so I want to help her.
The business is all new to him.
Maybe in the future, yeah, I will go to school and learn how to make cake, make dessert.
But not the money he'd have made in China.
If he's still working Shenzhen, maybe make more money, but life is not just money, right? We are happy here because we can stay together and we have lovely kids.
Robin's thoughts of pursuing a banking career in Canada were forgotten shortly after he arrived on a visa as Li Hong's spouse.
The first year I have a twin, so that's why I changed my plan. So I stay home, just to take care of my kids, my wife, to go to work.
Twins Diane and Delia are now 9.
How's your Chinese? Can you speak very well?
Kinda, sorta, not really.
You understand, Cynthia?
A third girl, Cynthia, is 6. His family would not have 3 children in China.
I have brother, he has brother, so not allowed for have 3 kids for sure.
Can I take this?
Which one?
Whatever, I don't want to take anymore.
The family lives in Surrey, well outside Vancouver, where a typical house is $1 million.
Here you spend 600,000 and 700,000. You have a big lot and like a pretty new house, right?
And Li Hong's parents are here.
We can live together and help each other, and they can see the 3rd generation grow up.
They came under Canada's Family Reunion Program and enjoy benefits like health care.
Total length after they send the approved sponsorship, then send to Beijing and issue the visa to my parents. Took about 6 to 7 years.
It used to happen within a couple of years.
The program of sponsoring parents was suspended for a couple of years and it reopened again this year.
Now the Canadian government is limiting applications to 5,000 per year for reunions. The government complained that non-working seniors using social services were costing too much.
The quota was filled up in the first month.
Alicia Ma, a Hong Kong-based immigration consultant, says Canada is the top location for mainland Chinese because the entry barriers have been low.
Right now, the federal investor program is closed, but it will open again.
The government said investor immigrants hadn't been contributing enough to Canada. Early indications from government are that applicants will need to put into a privately managed fund more than double the previous $800,000. Their money will go into startups, not the soft loans they used to give the Canadian government. The investor program had a 6-year backlog, some 65,000 people, including about 45,000 mainlanders. Getting in means residency and benefits right away.
The mothers are normally here with the children. The father normally stay in China to still run the business.
Lily wanted nothing to do with Vancouver after she landed there for the first time.
After one night, I'm worrying. I don't like Vancouver. I first felt it's so loudly and it looks like China. It's not Canada.
Her husband got the message right away.
Wake up. I'm going to Victoria.
Victoria is about 3 hours from downtown Vancouver. Half of that is a ferry ride. This is the capital of British Columbia. Population for the Greater Victoria area is about 345,000, just 12,000 Chinese. Lily sold a chain of 15 bakery shops in Wuhan and went to Canada 4 years ago as the wife of an investor immigrant. She wasn't happy to leave China.
I have good job, good company, and my son has good education in a famous high school. This is my husband's idea.
He's still running a snack food business in China and gets to Victoria a couple of times a year.
Education here trains my son's thinking, so when he grows up, I will let him choose. See if he likes to live and develop here or return to China.
Canada started as a 5-year plan to get Freddie a Western education. He's now in college studying commerce. He wants to become a trader after doing some traveling.
Maybe I'll move to another city, maybe Vancouver, maybe Toronto. I come to Canada, I learn the knowledge.
But Lily is getting attached to Victoria.
When I live here day by day, year by year, I love here lots. So I changed my mind now. I like to live here long, more than 10 years maybe.
She's been studying. First English. She had none when she arrived. And she's just graduated with a certificate in early childhood education after a year-long course. She has wanted to work with kids for a long time.
My parents doesn't allow me to take this course a long time ago.
She's going to work for a daycare.
After 2 years, I'd like to open my own daycare in Victoria.
And continue lobbying her husband to spend more of his time in Canada.
I want to him like here and live here time is longer by longer.
When I'm older, I'll come and live here. The environment here is better than in China.
Alicia Ma, the consultant, immigrated with her family from Hangzhou to Vancouver in 1981. Her father came under the skilled trades category.
They had a conversation with me and said, oh, you may not be able to go to school when we arrived in Canada, you know. We don't have a lot of money, you might have to work and support the family. I said, I don't want to go.
She finished high school in East Vancouver with a core group of friends she bonded with right away in her English as a second language class.
There were about 15 students, a mixture of Portuguese, Mexicans, Taiwanese, people from Hong Kong, Malaysia, Vietnam, China. I almost did not have friends outside of that group in high school.
Bigger waves of migrating Chinese didn't begin arriving in Canada until later in the 1980s. So even though Alicia was at a high school with lots of Chinese kids,
they're Canadians, really. They're born here. They don't speak Chinese.
Alicia says it wasn't until she graduated from the University of British Columbia, some 10 years after arriving in Canada, that she felt integrated.
I've got a license to practice pharmacy. I must be okay, right? Canadians are very friendly. We have to come out of our shells. So when the invitations present themselves, we're ready to take them up.
When we come back,
I would say start about 2005.
Mainland money, moving markets. Stay with us.